The last time that I took you on a garden tour, these broccolis hadn't even started heading up yet, and now they're ready to harvest. When it comes to harvesting broccoli, the process is pretty simple. I'm just gonna take a knife and cut just below the head. Gorgeous. And even though I've just cut the head out of the center of this broccoli plant here, it's actually not done producing. If I leave these plants in the ground, they're gonna keep producing small florets at little intervals along the main stem here. So we won't have a super large second harvest, but we will have a second harvest off of these plants nonetheless. The cabbage in this row have started to put on their heads. Super exciting. They have really started to fill out the bed. The broccoli plants are actually right here at the front of the garden, but I don't want it to neglect taking you through the arch. This is going to change dramatically throughout the course of the season. All of the tomatoes that I have along the arch are doing really well. They've got nice thick stalks, and many of them are starting to put on flowers. Onions looking lovely. I'm not sure if we're getting any bulbing up yet. Check out the chamomile. All of this chamomile here was volunteered from flowers that fell and cast their seed last season. Prime time for harvesting the chamomile flowers is when their petals are flat, when they have basically hyperextended their petal. They're a little bit too far gone. They still taste delicious, but the tea just isn't going to have the prime levels of the constituents that are within the chamomile. See, these flowers are pretty well perfect and ready to harvest. And maybe this one is starting to look a little bit too far gone, but we will absolutely still harvest that. And when it comes time to harvest the chamomile, I'll probably go through this tomorrow, but we'll really just pop the heads off of the flowers and dry them in our herb drying rack. This whole area just smells wonderful because of this. This bed is actually where we put thornless blackberries in last year. They have taken off like rockets. There's some over here as well. And on this trellis, I have thrown in some cucamelons. Some down there and there. If you've never had a cucamelon before, it's this tiny little cucumber essentially. It's like this big. It looks exactly like a watermelon and tastes a little bit like a cucumber mixed with a lemon. The potatoes and onion bed is extremely lush right now. Right here in this bed is where we used to have our broccolini or our rapini. And I actually didn't know that it was basically gonna come to maturity at the exact same time. I think we had 8 or 9 plants in here. I have harvested most of it. Some of it I'm leaving here for seed. And I am gonna be putting in some sweet potatoes in this bed, probably over the next couple days. Along here in these beds, I have some more broccoli, I have some red cabbage, and I also have some purple cauliflower. Here's that purple cauliflower. That purple cauliflower actually tastes a lot like broccoli, and if you've had a hard time growing broccoli in your area, I've actually had a lot of success with that variety, and I'll go ahead and link it in the description so you can try that variety for yourself. And along the back side of these brassicas here, I put in some pole beans. This here is a red variety. I forget the name. I'll put it below. And then along this side, I actually stuck in some beans that one of our wonderful subscribers sent to us. Marianne said that these beans have been in her family a really long time. She says that they don't store well, but that they're vigorous and that's their favorite bean for their family to grow for fresh eating. I can't tell you how excited I am about this. This was really, really special to be able to grow this year. Some of our asparagus has started to do its fern thing. When you first buy asparagus crowns, this is what you'll see come out of the ground. These are baby little asparagus ferns. Looks like a few of these purple ones are ready to harvest. Super simple process. And when you harvest fresh asparagus like this, you don't have to do that snapping that you do when you get them from the grocery store, because you do it in the garden. So these guys are just not woody straight from the get-go, because anything that would have been a little bit tough kind of just stays here in the ground. One of the most exciting things for me in this spring garden happens to be the elephant garlic. I bought 2 heads of elephant garlic from the Amish specifically to use as seed garlic, and probably this whole harvest this time too, I will use to seed another full bed of it before I start consuming it. It's a little bit hard to find, it's a little bit expensive when you do find it, and I would really love for this to be a regular thing. From what I've been told, I've never used it myself. Elephant garlic has a milder flavor, and true to its name, it has a really large clove, so you get to use and peel less of them when you're cooking. Our rhubarb has flowered and gone to seed. Look how interesting these seeds look. I actually grew cactus well before I grew any kinds of fruit or vegetables. And I'll tell you, when your prickly pear starts putting on flowers, initially the flowers don't look any different from a regular pad starting to grow, but as they grow, you can begin to tell the difference. The brand new pads for the plant will get flatter as they grow, and then the flowers remain kind of cylindrical, and they kind of have this crown of spines around the top. This is another one over here. This is the Santa Rita prickly pear, and it looks like this one's gonna have some amazing blossoms as well. Over here we have Swiss chard. These are spinaches. This is dinosaur kale. This kale over here is Ragged Jack. And on the back side here, I have a couple different varieties of lettuce. This is the 3rd year for many of these strawberry plants. A lot of these are alpine strawberries. And when it comes time to harvest a few of those alpine strawberries, I'll be able to more easily show you the difference between an alpine strawberry and, you know, a regular strawberry like you're used to buying at the grocery store. But basically the difference is they're a little bit more tart and they're a lot smaller. They're a lot more like a wild strawberry. And they have had no issues coming right back. So conversely, in the greenhouse here, these are more traditional style strawberries. I think I have Ozark Beauty, and I forget the name of the other type of strawberry that's in here, but there are 2 different varieties planted here. And there are some little berries coming on. I have fertilized the green stalk garden once already this spring, and I'm going to be doing so every 2 weeks. I don't know if I'm going to be using this specific fertilizer each time I fertilize, but this is what I've been using. This particular fertilizer, because it's designed to put more blooms on plants, oftentimes will equate into more fruit on fruiting plants, because with strawberries, flowers equal fruit. I started some marigolds in these little cell trays recently, and I plan to plant marigolds along with bush style green beans along either outside edge of the greenhouse. But right now, the tomatoes and the peppers that I planted in here not that long ago have really taken hold, and the tomatoes are putting on flowers. All along both sides of the center aisle here are a determinate variety of tomato called Heat Master. It gets really, really hot here in the summertime, and even with the shade cloth on, the fans on, the vents open, it's going to get extremely hot in the greenhouse. And when it gets too hot, oftentimes tomatoes will just drop their blossoms. This variety of tomato is actually bred to hang on to those blossoms despite the heat. These are all green peppers up that row. And then along here, these are all jalapenos. When they got about probably 5 or so inches tall, I actually snipped the top off of these. So we won't have a lot of upward growth, but it's going to be a lot more bushy. These 2 plants here are actually a striped variety of snacking pepper. These are sweet peppers. And then down there I have habanadas and nadapenos, which are the heatless varieties of jalapenos and habaneros. It's been a little while since we took the time to really hang out with our dairy goats. Over the fall and winter and super early spring, that's when we're doing our kidding season, and that's when the channel is chock-a-block full of goats, and I know you guys must miss them. Hi, pretty girl. What are you doing? You growing babies? Hi, Margie. Hey, Mama. Hi, Mars. This is a face that you all are used to seeing, but maybe not in this setting. Mars has actually graduated to living with the goats full time, and he's still getting used to his assignment, but he's doing really well. For a while, he was really scared of the goats because they were headbutting him, but as you can see, everybody is adjusting really well. Are those your goats? Huh? Talia and Calamity, our bottle baby girls, are growing like weeds. They actually went through about what I think is coccidia, but they're turning around. So yeah, if you see yucky bums, that's what that is. Only our bottle baby goats we're dealing with the coccidia. They have been around our babies that were born here and have been nursing on their mama, and so far those babies haven't shown any signs. Like Dinky. Like Dinky. Dinky's getting huge. He's a big boy. He's a big boy. There it is. You're a sweet girl. Yes, you are. You're a sweet girl. Yes, babies from last year have not forgotten how we do things. And babies from 2 years ago still eat pants. And I do have somewhat of an update. It's actually a very major update on our fencing project. The fence that surrounds about 4.5 acres around our pond and our wooded area is finished. We are going to have a grand reveal once we get the gates put up on this side of this pasture and are able to let them out to run free in the big pasture. I really am so excited for that moment. I'm gonna go ahead and link the goat birth playlist if you've missed when these rugrats were born. I'm gonna stand up. And if you'd like to see how I prune my pepper plants, I'm gonna put that over here as well.